Alright, don't look like we on YouTube. So let me try that shit again. It's gonna check. Come on now. Shit. Okay, let's say we live now. Let's see what's cracking. Alright, it's me. Okay, let's say we live. Check fake box. And we in business. Cool, say we live. Check fake box. Come on now. And we in business. Alright, I get my life together. I got my do-rag on. So that could come off. I hope everybody been having a good day. It's been alright for me. A little bit busy, a little bit relaxing. I ain't even take my afternoon nap. Y'all know I love that. But wound up having an urgent trip for my job, so I thought I wasn't gonna have to travel until the 20th, but I'm gonna have to go to Florida the 15th or something like that. I don't know. Some days I ain't never been either, too. Which is going to be interesting because my ex is from Florida. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So, but I doubt I'm going to see her, but you know how life is. Life be wild. You think you're not going to see somebody and they be the first person you damn see. Especially if you ain't from around that area. And I is not from Florida. And my mama swears there's something in the water down there too, so. I don't drink tap water. Oh, man. Okay, cool. Boom. We in business. Is that everything? And that is everything. Oh, man. I do something. I wish I could see how many people actually be looking or anything like that, but I don't never know, so I just be talking. Yeah, man, I'm already sleepy. Like I said, all I really had to do was a planning call. I went someplace in Florida too. I think that unplanned trip is was throwing me off. Okay, hold on. I don't even know where we at because I just stopped it randomly. Okay, I think I stopped at I know. Indigenous and white. The photograph was of great solace to Flora. We're gonna start there anyway. Like I said, hope you had a great week. We're gonna enjoy the Thursday night book club like we always do. I'm gonna get started and then we're gonna wrap it up. Let me get comfortable. I got this running knee thing. That's my goal in case I want to dunk on somebody. Oh God. Hey Marlena. I don't know if you watching. We on the YouTubes. I don't see what? You say I shared that post like an hour later. When I don't ever be seeing who own it from Facebook on Thursday nights. They not on YouTube. But I just seen Marlena like this, so I appreciate you. I figure that mean at some point you're gonna tune in. So if you want to comment and me talk trash to you like I always do, then yeah, you're gonna have to come through YouTube. Because I was not on Facebook. That I told you, I knew she was gonna comment. So I know you hear me talk about you, Marlena. I just got a notification that said Marlena commented on your post. But I can't see it, Shawty. You gotta come to the YouTube. Like I said, you tired of your producer dancing in all the videos. Comes to YouTube's. I got my water together. Yeah, we're gonna live this good life right now. Whew, I'm hot. I've been doing a bunch of work. I'm hot. Give me a second. Oh, God. You know, it's that time of the year. I know that's rude. Well, you don't know if you want to keep your AC on or what. Because you cut it on, and then it's going to be 42 degrees or 12 degrees the next night, then shit like that. So I probably need to get some fans, but I'm Bougetto. I'm going to talk trash to our friend Marlena Liberty. She ain't joining us. So she late. I'm going to have to, Michelle, I appreciate you. I seen you reacted. You know you gotta be on YouTube on what night is this? Thursdays for me to see your comments. So all right, like I said, we on The Sentence by Louise Erdrich, and I don't know where we are in this book. 294 of 333 pages. So we may have 2 more Thursdays of this, depending on how many we get through tonight. And I think the Thursday after that, we'll talk about it next week. I might not be able to have that. I might do it in the airport or something weird like that. And then I know a week of the 20th, I'm not having no shows that day because last time I did. Hey, there you go. I appreciate you, Michelle. I see you on Facebook. Oh, well, never mind. I forgot. This is it's crazy because I forgot on my mobile, it does show everybody comments, but desktop, I don't know what's wrong with desktop. It don't show it like that. But I can see Facebook comments. My bad. I don't know why Marlene's didn't show up. Maybe it's because you be on YouTube sometimes. I don't know. All right, well, turn on my sexy voice. Oh, I ain't sing. Hey, no, I ain't gonna sing that song I sang Tuesday. It definitely. Oh, there you go. Now it shows you, right? Maybe it needed Michelle to say something first, because now it's like it's a hater. It is. It is. I ain't even gonna pretend like it's not. But I hope y'all relaxing, got your tea. Yeah. So when I make a post asking for suggestions, so y'all put a guest down. Suggestion down or something we can read together. Well, probably. Yeah, that's it. You lucky charm, girl. I promise you are. It is it. That's what we're gonna stick with. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. I just put some lip balm on my lips. Not like I just ate a fried chicken. All grease. All right. So let me think where I want to start at. Start at the photo woman. Okay. The photo woman was probably in her mid-40s, wore a black dress, buttoned up to the neck, and carefully placed a limp web of shawl. It was the kind of needed triangle worn by women of all sorts around that time, indigenous and white. This photograph was great solace to Flora. I know she showed it to me several times, I think. Did you see her name written on the back of the picture? No, I didn't. Me neither. But I wouldn't have recognized that family name anyway. She had the photo copied and put into an antique frame for herself and for Kateri. This image was her touchstone, and from it she spun an identity. At first, of course, she was Dakota. Then things became confused and she made some people mad, so she admitted herself to Ojibwe. And then, as she clarified her confusions, she told everyone that she was a descendant of the woman in the picture, who was probably of mixed bloods and who made it somehow through the harrowing years of the Dakota War and its aftermath. Then, of course, she vaguely became Metis. At last, she stopped casting about and left her identity vague, right? And I've already told you Flora stole this book written by this woman who, I put my hand up to stop a seamer from saying the name, but I was too late. The woman's name, the white woman's name was, I put my hands over my ears, but Asima didn't notice. Penn, however, did notice, cocked her braided circle head, and frowned keenly at me. When Flora read this name, she understood that she was not a descendant of a Metis woman, but of a white woman. Perhaps at first, she hoped the woman in the picture was actually Maneme or Genevieve Moulin. I think she hoped this woman was her ancestor, but the portrait was of a white woman who kept and controlled Genevieve. This woman, known for keeping other women locked in a bedroom. This woman ran what was called a house of commercial affection. She rented out these women's bodies and was known to have covered up, perhaps permitted, several murders. She was known as the Nightbird Butcher. She was the woman who left her sign on Genevieve's body and cruelly enforced her transformation. Her name was written out of the book with descriptions of what she had done. Flora read the name. It was the same name as the name on the back of her photograph. At that instant, Flora's identity turned upside down. Everything that she concocted about herself turned out to be opposite. And don't forget that Flora was a devout Catholic. To find she'd modeled herself on a woman of cruel appetites who tortured helpless girls, this was unbearable. I held up my hand again. What she was saying filled me with agitation so extreme I wanted to jump out of my skin. Maybe the extreme discomfort that I felt was a normal reaction, but I needed to shift the story so it wouldn't say the name. I brought up another thing. Say you two, something else happened that I haven't told you about. It happened a couple of weeks ago, the last time I was at work. I was alone, and this time I couldn't form the words, could hardly frame a thought. I tried again. Flora tried to. She tried to. I turned away. I was all jammed up. My heart was fluttering and knocking against the cage of my ribs. What did she try to do? Asked Penstemon. In a rush, I got it out. She tried to unzip my body and squeeze herself inside of me. Asima folded her arms in frozen concentration. Penstemon stood up slowly and looked down at me in alarm. She was dressed in black from neck scarf to socks, all in black, spectral black. At some point, she sat back down and muttered, "It makes sense." How does it make sense? Penstemon flipped back a wittery scoff. Are you in mourning? Why can't you wear a damn color? I asked. Oh, this? She looked at her clothing. It's what I always wear, Tookie. And speaking of, just look at yourself. You're too young to be so grim, I said, but it was true. I was always dressed in black. A wannabe, said Penstemon. She wanted to be. Flora wanted to exist inside of a native body, but a certain kind of indigenous body, big and tough. She wanted to be recognizably Indian so bad that she spent her life trying to engineer an identity, But she knew on some level that none of it was real, thus her desperation. I can see that, I said. But what I don't get is this. When she couldn't kick me out of my body, why didn't she try yours or Seema's? There's a reason, said Penn. And I think, don't take this wrong, I think maybe yours is more porous. I looked at my arms, strong from Marine style push-ups. I turned my hands over. I seemed so solid, but in my life, there had been so many times I'd been on the verge of dissolving. So close to it that I looked up and copied down a word. Delicace, to melt away or disappear as if melting. Chemistry, to dissolve and become liquid by absorbing moisture from the air. Botany, to branch out into numerous subdivisions that lack a main axis, to become fluid or soft on maturing, as do certain fungi. I had looked up the word because it applied to what happened to me when I dissolved at times, as do certain fungi. I told Pensamon about the word and admitted that there was something to what she said. Penn took a breath, gave me a relieved smile, and went on talking. Flora knew there would be a reckoning, that someone, maybe Kateri, would figure out that she'd pulled together elements of other people's lives to fake her own. The thing is, most of us indigenous people do have to constantly pull together our identities. We've endured centuries of being erased and sentenced to live in replacement culture. So even someone raised strictly in their own tradition gets pulled towards white perspectives. For sure, said Asima, white realities are powerful, and most of us have to pick and choose between our family and tribal traditions to find ourselves. She knew we struggled. She knew we were sometimes tentative. She knew we saw our own sense of belonging. She knew some of us have to make a choice every day to hold on, to speak our language, to dance, to pay our dues to the spirit. What she said hit me hard. She had just described Pollock's life work. He did make that decision every day when he woke up, burned cedar and sweetgrass, put out offerings, went off to keep the universe ticking along. Excuse me, I said. I have to send an urgent message. I walked over to a tree and pretended to look at my phone. I closed my eyes and focused my thoughts as tightly as possible and sent them to pockets. Just live, and I'll be there for you. You're needed here to keep things going, and I'll help you. Walking back to the benches, I heard Pensamon say, I really believe that to live inauthentically is to live in a sort of hell. She seemed happy enough, though, Asima said. How could she be? I had witnessed Flora's tension, her zeal to correct mistakes in other people. I remember how she once had told me I couldn't talk about being Indian or Aboriginal, but should always say indigenous. I told her that I called myself whatever I wanted and to get the hell out my face. Now I saw Flora's pedantry as a form of desperation. It was true that she was constantly on high alert, always offering her latest proof, always scared she'd be laughed at. She studied us out. In fact, it crossed my mind that she might have tried to go Ojibwe heaven and been turned back. That alone would devastate. She just tried so fucking hard, I said. And for all of that, still, I only like her when she acted white. I guess, like when she was reading Proust. You read Swan's Way, said Penstemon. You told me. So how can that be white? Point taken. Remember when she took up beading, said Asima? A bit sad. She brought her bead work into Jackie, but her earring sagged. She beat it too loose, said Penstemon. But you know, she got better. She got perfect. But then she forgot to put the wrong bead, the spirit bead in. Only the creator's perfect, right? Maybe she insulted the spirits. She made a medallion, said Asima. And she did a lot of good things, you know. Threw herself into helping young people, adopted Kateri, not legally. Kateri was a teenager, after all. Kateri chose her and loved her, I said. Right? We can't tell Kateri about this. Of course not. We looked out over the lake. The sun was shards of brilliance. It's a poem out there, I said for some reason. You should write it, Tuki. It's yours. Hold on, sugar. Oh, for goodness sake, Pen, don't patronize me. I'd rather get rid of Flora Ghost. I mean, I can't work alone. I can't even go into the store alone. I've thought of something. What? One time you said something about the most beautiful sentence in the human language, said Pen. As you know, I'm big on ritual. Maybe she needs one. What you're really referring to is the meaning of the sentence in any language, right? I suppose I am. Then I know what she wants to hear. The most beautiful sentence. What does it say? I don't know what Indian is, but who but oh, I guess it means Indian. It literally is the letter N, D, N. But I guess they might be saying Indian, I-N-D-I. Yeah. Who but an Indian? I'm tripping on that now. Forgive me. Who but an Indian would know that some days truth is a ghost who shouts in the voice of no one in particular, and other days it's a secret nostalgia poured into the coffee cups of the living. Billy Ray Bellicourt, Indian coping mechanisms, notes from the field. Ego te absolvo. Okay. I went into the store the next morning. Penstemon was shelving stacks of books and pulling books to fill more orders. She told me she was now thinking of tattooing her body in protest of the blood quantum rules. Red lines would divide her ace of Ho Chunk, Hidasta, Lakota, and Ojibwe. A blue line, her Norwegian area. Where would you put that blue line? Around my heart. I really love my mother. I'm touched, I said. But this idea is even worse than that literary idol Mount Rushmore. I started to print out packing labels. Penn asked me if I ever looked up the quatrefoil symbol on the door of the confessional. No, I didn't. Of course I forgot. Well, I did, and it's cool. In heraldry, the quatrefoil is a stylized four-petaled flower. As a Christian symbol, the petals are supposed to represent the four evangelists. But the quatrefoil is also an indigenous symbol, Mayan Olmec. It represents four directions, the opening of the cosmos, and get this, it is considered a passageway between the celestial world and the underworld. Penstemon's face was bright with revelation, she and her rituals and passions for symbolism. Maybe we could take it off the door of the confessional, burn it, and see if destroying the portal stops her, I said. If our plan doesn't work, let's try. Maybe not burn it, Tookie. But you know, it could be that the portal only works one way. Maybe Flora came through it by mistake and was trapped in a bookstore. Maybe we should coax her to use the front door. Coax? I said. Penn shrugged. Yeah, you know. Yeah, how would that even work? I can't even coax Flex Wheeler to pick up his socks. You're dating Flex Wheeler? Funny. That name rings a bell. Bodybuilder. My current boyfriend's real name is Kenneth. He's a whole chunk, and I just call him Flex because He lifts weights. You like him? Maybe. So far, it's just long walks and Zoom dates. But there's always a pair of socks in his background draped on a chair or something. I consider that a good sign. A sock man. Lucky. I caught my breath at the pain of thinking of Pollux. Around 11 a.m., her usual time, Flora began rustling in fiction. Pensimon looked at me, made thriller claw hands, and we stopped talking. I text Kateria and Asima. She's here. A short time later, Asima showed up. Then Kateri paced in and stood frowning with her fist shoved in her jacket pockets. Her hair was growing out in wavy shag. She was grounded and calm. We spread out into the aisles of books. Flora was messing around in the cookbook section. I was pretty sure Ghost missed the taste of food. I'd have been sad if Flora wasn't trying, in a sense, to devour me. I looked at Asima, expecting she'd heard Flora's loud shuffle, but her face was blank. Couture shook her head no. They couldn't hear Flora's footsteps. The tinkle of her bracelets, the slippery sounds of Flora's saw, or her silky pants swishing as she walked. Pensimon that for her Asima strained forward, but she couldn't tell that Flora lingered now in memoirs and politics. Kateri didn't hear Flora browsing native history and pausing at the sailboat table. Flora seemed to waver before the confessional. I'd left the gate open. Flora entered the confessional. I nodded at Asima, stepped forward, and pulled from my pocket the piece of paper that Penstemon had given me because she thought Flora needed to be forgiven. She'd written out the words of absolution. I don't even know what this is. Indulginem, absolutinem, et retusnem, Pretorium, Torium, Tribuya. I don't even want to say all that. Amen. I read words out slowly in Latin that was probably painful to hear until I reached the crucial ending. Then in firm tones, I said, Ego te absolvo. There was a suspension, a silence, a weighty sense of consideration. Then together we spoke one of the loveliest single sentences in English language. Go in peace. Nothing. She was still dead. Sad, scorched, mildewed, alone. I squeezed my head between my hands to keep from bursting thoughts from overwhelming me. There was something. There had to be a key. I tried anything. Ooh, shoot, excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. Wait a minute, I said. I do know her favorite sentence. Listen, I had talked about Proust the other day before, and in fact, once. I had memorized a sentence that Flora loved as I did. A little tap on the window pane, as though something had struck it, followed by plentiful light, failing sounds as grains of sand being sprinkled from a window overhead, gradually seeping, intensifying, acquiring a regular rhythm, becoming fluid, sonorous, musical, immeasurable, universal. It was the rain. Nothing, but I can feel her listening the way you feel it when the audience draws near. It's the rain. I spoke in a louder voice. She was definitely hanging on to my words. My thoughts zinged around in my brain, touching her here and there in the past. I came across a place that felt soft and painful. I stayed there and found some words that had stuck in me. Words that I thought now, in desperation, she might need, because possibly she was haunting me out of a sense of entitlement. Maybe she needed the same thing the bone lady kept referring to. She needed me to be so grateful. I set my jaw and tried to focus through my resentment. It wasn't easy, but I put it out there. All right, Flora, I give up. You saved my mother. You did a lot. Wait, it struck me. Maybe I owed Flora everything. She kept my mother sober, drugless, probably even well hydrated while she was pregnant with me. Possibly I owe Flora points on the IQ test I took that apparently Jackie told me later. It was thought I somehow cheated on. Possibly I owe Flora my love of books, my word, my survival. But did I have to thank her? And was a bully thank you a real thank you? And since this thank you was coerced, could I coerce Flora back or fool her? Michiwe Ajepe, Flora, I pitched my voice in that special register that expressed something true, however grating, or sells something broken. Thank you for saving my life. There was a listening pause, a small sigh, a delicate rattle of wooden beads. Asima's eyes opened wide. She too heard Flora leaving the confessional. I'd left our front door, the blue door open. The floor creaked near the entryway. The air changed. Her footsteps paused. And then there was a hushed murmur, a thin whoosh, as she went out into the world. Shall I close the door? Asked Kateri. As she stepped forward, the wind rose and slammed the door violently shut. The blow reverberated, shaking the windows and the books in the windows. The crash of the door nearly finished me. Kateri laughed in surprise. Happy trail, she said. What was that about? Still laughing, hand on the heart, Kateri croaked this out. I used to run around the house slamming doors with Mom for fun. She always said that's the way they got Ghost out. I think this means she's happy. Oh, what's it? How about the Alchemist? Okay, cool. When I do it, I've been thinking about the Alchemist. But when I do the post, just suggest it. I'll make a poll or something. Oh yeah. I know y'all see. Yeah, I'm chilling. Well, I am at the crib. About to say I'm chilling like I'm at the crib. I am at the crib. Tuki's return. After Flora left, I opened the gate to the confessional and took out the portable sound system, which was stored where the priest had rested his feet. I set aside the sign that said, "Do not enter. Our insurance does not cover damnation." I sat down on the bench with the sagging maroon leather cushions forever dented by a priestly ass. I cannot remember reading Flora's full name in the book as I read the simple sentence that killed. Her name was Lily Florabella Trucks. Okay, that's funny. But Pinstamon and Nasima were right. I am permeable. Even calling that name, now I began to float apart, dissolving as though my cells were being seized by a room of hungry air. When I came back to myself, I knew. I had carefully kept myself in a cloud of unknowing, but now I understood. Lily Florabella. My mother slammed me to the floor when I was 8 because I tried to stop her from going out the door. She slammed me down like an all-star wrestler, knocked my wind out, left me laying there. She stepped over me as she began her daily hunt for oblivion. I never forgave her for that, but it was the only moment I can remember of real violence. It was her nothingness, her being lost in space when I was right there with her. But other than her sudden, shocking all-star wrestling move, there isn't one instance I could point to that hurt me more than any other. There was just so much loneliness. I'd taken a pink eraser to my childhood and blurred out the pain. I know that's right. Compared to other lives, people I knew in prison and people I grew up with, my life was not so hard. I make a big deal of having fought dogs for food, for scrounging stuff and stealing food, but thanks to our neighbors and relatives, there was food. Nobody grudged what I took, and often they handed me more. And although my mother didn't love me, she didn't hate me either. Yet I grew to hate her. You can't get over things you do to other people as easily as they get over things they do to you. As her addictions weakened her and she became increasingly confused, I became strong and cruel. Sometimes I used the force of my entire body to yell at her because I knew how to break her down. I could make her sob deeply, ugly, wrenching gags that shamed me. I couldn't stop. Maybe I just needed to have some effect on her, even if it hurt her. My heart what, was empty. I could get at her tiny soft seed, carve out that pith. I had no way to punish my father, whose crimes were supernumerary. Every hour he was absent from my life was an offense. Instead of blaming him, I took apart my mother. In fact, I slapped her so hard, pushed her down on the gritty linoleum floor, told her she was shit, then bugged out on her the day she overdosed. When I came back hours later, I opened the door, stood beneath the jab. There was a low whistle coming from somewhere. It chilled my blood. I knew it wasn't good. We didn't have a tea kettle, and it was not a windy day. The whistle only stopped when I found my mother in the closet. She crawled into a heap of blankets and rocketed off this earth within the aperture that was mine. I remember finding her there, so dead, yet no harder to reach than when she was alive. Instead of feeling sad for her, I wanted to wash my blankets. I am probably poor because it cost a lot not to be aware. When I get stuck circling back to how I shoved her to the floor, it seems like shame strengthens rather than fades with times. I know that's right. Shame does get stronger if you think about it. Then one day, maybe it's gone. My mother did tell me that she stayed clean for a while she was pregnant. That was something. She could have ditched Flora and gone on a 9-month drinking binge. That's true. My mother's name was Charlotte Barprere. When she was between using, she had light brown eyes and the kind of dark hair that looks black after 6 p.m. When she was using heavy, her eyes sank back into her skull and you didn't want to look in there. We never talked when she was using or drunk, but between those times, she might say, "Shut the fridge," or cereal, which meant I was to go to the corner store because we ate a lot of cereal. She didn't care what time, but I caught a faint light in her eyes once when I bought Coke Count Chocula. So I kept on getting, although it tasted like barf and took a lot of stamps. There was not much else to say. She wore no jewelry, had no favorite possessions. If she watched TV, it could be anything. How could a person who gave you life and kept you more or less with them by some profound miracle of oversight leave such a scarce impression? I put her ashes in the Mississippi River, not because she ever noticed the river or gave the slightest indication she wanted that, but because it was a way to think of her as she'd always been, wordless, inert, pulled along by a strong hidden current. My name is Lily. Oh, okay. My name is Lily Floribella Tro Beaupere, named after a woman who helped my mother, the woman who became my ghost. Tuki name is Lily Floribella. No, okay, cool. Flora had flung down books with my name. I accepted the name, but not as I accept mashed rutabagas. I'm still Tuki. She's Flora. And now she was gone. Perhaps food when I deviously thanked her, or perhaps because of Marcel Proust, or maybe the words of absolution in Latin had worked. There was there was a sliding sound. I heard it when her blood had turned to sand. I waited, but that was all. It didn't seem that she was coming back. I opened the door and walked out the box of sin, stained, tainted, human. I stood in a beam of weak autumn light. Well, I'm fine now. She's trying to get through pages now. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's blank pages. We might get through this. Yeah. Hope y'all didn't see that squirt. Forgive me. Souls and Saints. Dark of the year. October 31st, Halloween. The day that demons roam. November 1st, All Saints. The day that saints triumph. November 2nd, All Souls. The day for souls in purgatory. November 3rd, Election Day. All and none of the above. Halloween. Hedda found a length of gutter pipe in the garage. Look at this, Tukey. Excuse me. She was gloating. I was glad for some distraction from my fear over Pollux. It's an old drain pipe, I said. No, it's a pandemic candy funnel. She and Seema used it to deliver candy to children in candy bags. I hadn't imagined there'd be so many trick-or-treaters this year. But there were astronauts, tigers, a girl wearing a picture frame, and a ton of superheroes. Earlier, 3 girls from the neighborhood had come to the store dressed as the Bronte sisters. Bonnets, capes, long sweeping dresses, shawls, the works. When they left, Jackie had turned to me and said, they made her glad to be alive. Isn't that a bit of an overstatement, I'd asked. No, said Jackie. I'd really have been excited if they'd included the mad wife of in Rochester's attic. They're still little girls, said Jackie. When they're tweens, they'll all be her, so enjoy. I watched the trick-or-treaters for a while, then left Hedda and Nasima to their funneling. The Halloween candy was tinier and more intensely wrapped every year. I headed for the hospital where my plan was to eat thumb-sized Kit Kats and wave at the window that I imagined was my husband's room. Sometimes late at night, the hospital emitted thin streams of mist from the cracks along the windows. And between the bricks, they took shapes of spirits freed from bodies. Now, that's wild. The world was filled with ghosts. We were haunted in a country, a haunted world. Yeah. Yeah. I'll leave that where it's at. I moved into the back seat and pulled up my sleeping bag. It was blue, puffy, beloved, a bit sour. But I was too. Although I was taking breaks as often as I could, I was still becoming a sour ball with arms and legs. I'd wake in the morning with numb arms, stiff legs, and a raging headache. My self-care was minimal. So what? I was surviving, even if on candy, coffee, and boxes of power bars. It was getting so I welcomed the aches and shooting pains. There were signals that I was alive, emphatically alive. Yes, I was cold, grubby, wrecked, but I also possessed a rare, bizarre, yet ordinary gift. Before this year, I'd have wanted to hand it over to Pollux. But the truth is, I wanted this locked box full of treasure. I wanted this life for myself. All Saints Day. Yeah. It was again that time of year where the veil between the worlds is thin. However, this year the veil had been ripped asunder. It was gone. After Penn told me about the quatrefoil, she kept talking. She told me that in the medieval view, there were rifts, holes, tears in space and time through which demons and human evils can erupt. Hatreds boiled through the cracks. Even one person of a certain magnetism in this time can seize the energy and cause maelstrom to form around each sentence they utter. One person can create a giant hurricane of unreality that feels like reality. And I know that's right. We've just seen some amazing liars at this time. That's what's happening, she said. Just look around. I didn't have to. I felt like I could see everything. Hatred, valor, cruelty, mercy. It was all over the news and in the hospitals and all over me. Watching and waiting for the word of Pollux had turned me inside out. I saw the families in Parker at the windows, holding up their love signs. I saw the old paper hearts curled, the new paper hearts still vivid. I wore fear like a cape. Fear was my sack pants, my black runners. I always carried along Pollux's dim brown plaid man shirt and favorite old jeans. Every day I got an update. Pollux was back to holding his own again. One day improvement, the next day worse. I tried not to shift my thoughts with every new voice on the phone. I'd never known Pollux to be afraid for himself, but he'd never been so helpless. For a while in my life, I'd lived with certainty that I would be held in love, and now I was sleeping in the parking lot. For a while in this life, Pollux had been held in love, and now he was marooned in a hospital bed on the other side of a wide wall. All Souls Day. On All Souls morning, I got to work early before Jackie. I took a deep breath before I unlocked the blue door to the bookstore. I let my breath go as I stepped inside. The store was quiet, but the silence was ominous. Peace reigned, a clear blue light, the scent of sweetgrass and books. Yesterday it seemed like Pollux might be better. Today, no word. The door to the confessional was open, and I started to like the little perch, so I sat down. On this day of souls, the millions absent in this world were leaving the between place, the limbo, if that existed. I thought people packed into narrow sleeves of earth. I sat there waiting. Surely not Flora. Surely I had not become codependent on a ghost. No, I was waiting for her, not to be here on the anniversary of her first visit, not to step in her 1700-degree shoes. I was waiting for my own heart to beat at a normal tempo, for my breath to ease, for my stomach to settle. I sat there in the peace for a long time, with no God, no music, no ghost, no fellow worker, no Pollux. Or maybe there was God. Mine is the God of isolation, the God of the small voice, the God of the little spirit, of the earthworm and the friendly mouse, the hummingbird, the green bottle fly, and all things iridescent. In that quiet, perhaps one of my tiny gods told me that I should drive back to the hospital parking lot. I looked at my phone. There was no message. I looked at my email on the store computer. Nothing. I called the numbers I'd been given, and there wasn't any news. I shut myself down, locked up the store, and drove. Left the car parked on the street and ran to the front desk of the hospital, pulling up my mask. The attendant saw it in my eyes and picked up the phone. Yes, please, Pollux. Please, doctor. Please, nurse. I could hear the sounds of purgatory, the scrape of the chair, the staticky bustle, then a voice. Hello, Miss Pollux? We've been trying to get in touch with you. My knees buckled. I went to the floor with the phone. Your husband is off the oxygen and breathing on his own. We think he's ready to come home. What did you say? Here, you want to talk to him? I stuttered out a yes. Then Pollux was on the phone. Stop sleeping in the parking lot. Pollux, come get me. After I was veiled and shielded, there was copious amount of paperwork. One nurse told me how to take care of Pollux at home. Another nurse told me not to baby him. Let him walk around and so build up his lungs. Both warned me to be careful and take his oxygen levels constantly. Pollux came down in the elevator in an actual bubble, and then a shrouded nurse wheeled him to the entrance. I could tell he was skinny from the drape of his gowns he wore over his clothes. I opened the side door of the van, and she helped him get into the back seat. He had an oxygen tank for emergency, breathing, and a box of inhalers. Excuse me. I told the nurse that I'd strap him in, and as I bent over him to grab the buckle, he rasped, "Trouble's back." "Life's been kind of boring without you," I choked. I slid the slide door shut tenderly and went to the front. 3 nurses waved us off. I coasted down the circular hospital drive and paused at the end to adjust my rearview mirror so that I could see Pollux. He was looking straight at me. I know that's creepy. You stop and look at the back seat and they already eyes on you. I've been tripping hard. Straight ball sack. As I drove up with him, I saw Hedda and Laurent were waiting at the door. Between us all, we plucked them out of the van. "I'm weak as a kitten," he said. "Your fur is kind of lopsided," said Hedda, pushing his ponytail behind his ears. He was able to walk slowly to the steps with one of us at each elbow. Laurent walked behind. He had a bag of swamp tea in his hand. "Are you back there in case I suddenly drop?" asked Pollux. "I guess," said Laurent. "Good." Laurent back there talking about "I guess." Well, you drop don't mean I'm gonna catch you. He rested after each step on the front stairs. I put my arms around him. Together, we toddled into the house. Hedda had taken off the back pillows and made the couch up as a bed. He tumbled down out of breath, then recovered and let himself be propped up enough to breathe easier. The oxygen tank was by his side, but he waved it off. "Being home is medicine," his voice quavered. He drank the swamp tea, and then he slept for 9 hours. He was breathing easily in his sleep, so I didn't wake him. I set up the comfortable chair next to the couch and sat there, holding his hand, tracing his scarred knuckles. Okay, there we go. Let me finish this. Maybe. Bones. Election day was perfect and warm. This was my first vote. I'd been shamed into it by Hedda and Asima, but really, Pox had threatened to go himself if I didn't vote. So I went. I put up the process, whatever it was. I'd always said that voting was for people who hadn't been where I'd been or done what I'd done. But maybe, in fact, I was just lazy. Asima and I walked over to the local school gym, and I felt the strength drain from my legs again. Pollux. I didn't collapse, but I felt weak and ready to surrender. Getting out of the hospital was only a step. Nobody could tell me what came next. At one point, I sat down on a park bench and looked at my feet in hot purple runners trimmed in black. I gazed at my feet the way you fixate on something familiar when your life is changing. I moved my toes up and down. My feet calmed me by obeying me. He's breathing on his own. Now that's a beautiful sentence. Last night, I slept on the Erdrich couch pillows on the floor beside Pollux. When I roped and reared over, Pollux was still there. The hell? I was looking through my pockets pretending to be upset. My license. I forgot my license. I gave Asima a smile and fake regret and rose to walk away. "Oh well, see you next time." Asima grabbed my arm. "You gave me your voting card, remember? You're not getting out of this." I walked along, still looking down at my shoes. We reached the line and took our place. Asima told me she needed to talk to me about her latest findings, But before she can go on, the woman in front of us turned and pounced. "You're from the bookstore." We turned. I couldn't place her at first, and the singer said, "You're the bone lady." She was dressed in rust orange this time, but she was indeed the woman who had cornered us all last fall to talk about her great aunt science project, wired together human remains that she stored under her bed. I remember that. "I was just about to drop a box off your store," she said. Her eyes were bright and shiny. She wore an orange plaid bucket hat. We nodded and turned away, and I felt chill among my shoulders. I turned back. "Is it Bones?" I asked. The bone lady nodded, her eyes beaming. "I hope you're grateful," she said with a coy wink. Interesting. Asima tiptoed into the store as though she was the grave robber. A cardboard box that had once held a sun lamp was in the office. Asima rocked the box and Bones shifted. "I'm dying to see what's inside," I said. "Groan," said Asima. She opened the box and peered in. "Yep, Bones." She stood there blinking, her hand at the back of her head. "Are we grateful?" I asked. "Only if she gives the land back." Oh, God. I went out the office, and when I came back, I found Asima using a fork to hold up a scrap of blue. Before I could stop her, she torched it with the lighter. The blue ribbon flared and vanished. There was nothing to say. Next, Asima burned some sage and brushed the smoke over the bones. She twisted braids of sweet grass among the bones and ripped open a package of bear root and laid the pieces inside before she closed the box. She asked me if I thought Pollux would know what to do about this situation. I mean, if he feels well enough, maybe he could ask one of his friends, she said. "He just got out of the hospital," I said. "And you want me to ask him what to do with human remains? But when he gets well, he'll be unhappy if we do the wrong thing," said Asima. I knew she was right. Penn had made a chocolate cake for Pollux. It was the size of a pillbox hat, moist and dense. I carried it home wanting, like a bear, to stop and eat it with my paws. He was sleeping again, his face pinched and defenseless. But when he woke around noon, he looked slightly better. His voice hit some of the old notes. I made him some toast, then some scrambled eggs, then toast and scrambled eggs together. I decided that he was a lot better, and I told him that a white woman had dropped off a box of bones at the store. People bones? Probably from a burial mound. "I know a guy who can handle this," said Pollux. "He's done some burials and repartations." "Okay. If you give me the phone, I'll call him." Pollux was sitting on the couch now. I gave him the phone, and he talked for a while. He said the bones should stay in the store overnight. He said it's kind of an emergency, and he'd come and get them himself, but he's old and doesn't like to drive. Asim volunteered. Let me see what we got. You know what? I'm going to stop there. Because I feel like if I stop there, it might be just enough for next Thursday. Oh, shit. Never mind. What the hell? Never mind. This the rest of the book, so I'm about to finish it up. Doo-doo-doo. I've been so mad. Totally biased list of Tookie's favorite books. That's the rest. Asima volunteered to drive the bones out of the city and asked Hedda to come along with her. They set out in the dark of late fall with a box of bones in the back of the van. I waved them off with Jarvis in my arms, then went back to Pollux. We made Jarvis an arena with pillows, and Pollux watched him crawl around and drag himself up the side of the couch. I fixed a cup of tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwich for Pollux. "No jalapenos?" Not yet. I wish you'd put on a nurse outfit. Scrubs? Sure. I was thinking more retro. Not yet for that, too. He ate half and asked for more swamp tea and also music. It never occurred to me to follow the election results, and Pollock said we wouldn't know for a while anyway. Jarvis and I danced. Pollock nodded from the couch. We reminisced about our favorite dinner breakfasts. We checked in with the real nurse. We walked Pollock to the bathroom and plumped up his pillows. Pollock sang a phrase of song before his voice gave out. He ate a small wedge of cake. The evening had turned cool, and Jarvis was absorbed by a freakishly responsive toy that sang, cooed, purred, gurgled, or spoke when he touched it. I wanted to make a fire, but I couldn't remember ever making one before. I was a city Indian. Mainly then, my hobby was getting massively wasted in various ways, had taken over. Then, of course, I'd been surrounded by concrete for a decade, up until at last I met up with a Potawatomi. I decided to ask Pollock for a lesson. He was propped up well enough to see the fireplace and tell me what to assemble from the kindling box and a little pile of split wood. More was on the back porch. Strip the birch bark off that piece, he said, then directed me to put down a loose layer of sticks on the grate along with strips of birch bark. Then, makes sense. Then top with a few chops of kindling, put a couple nice dense splints in the back, make sure the flue's open. He told me to crush up some newspaper. I mashed a couple of sections. Not like that, he said. Take one page at a time, crunch it in a ball, not too tight. That's good. Now shove them beneath the grate. Stick that scrape of birch bark in the papers and put a match to that. The fire blazed up, caught all the way into the biggest log. He told me which piece of wood to add and where to place them. Flames follows air. Air's the food for fire, and fire is always hungry. Like you. My back was turned. Yeah, he said. I could feel him grin. I followed his instruction till a nice bed of coals collected under the grate. I sat back. Now watch, he said. Your fire's going to start going out. It did. I turned to him. What'd I do? You let the logs burn long enough so they made space between them. You got to keep the fire new. Every piece of wood needs a companion to keep it burning. Now push them together. Not too much. They also need that air. Get them close, but not on top of each other. Just a light connection. All the way along. Now you'll see a row of even flames. The flames popped out. Picture perfect. God damn, I really love you, I whispered, sitting back on my heels. We fell into a dreamy assonance. I drifted on the couch cushions, down on the floor, attached to a warm baby limp who was nearing his first birthday. Pollock's breathing evened out and drew deeper. He was asleep. I stared at my husband's face, the new cheekbones of a skinny man, his surprising beauty, and I decided to live for love again and take a chance for another lifetime. Jarvis awakened. Yeah. We regarded each other in the calm light. He was on the verge of his first steps. Walking is a feat of controlled falling, like life, I guess. But for the moment, he was still a baby. Oma Aking. He sighed in delicious boredom. His eyelids quivered as they shut. He smiled at some inward secret. Oh, my chubby traveler. You entered this world at a crossroads. Together, we straggled through the year that sometimes seemed like the beginning of an end. A slow tornado. I want to forget this year, but I'm also afraid I won't remember this year. I want this now to be the now where we save our place, your place on earth. Ghost bring elegies and what? I think that's eulogies, but it's spelled wrong. And epitaphs, but also signs and wonders. What comes next? I want to know. So I managed to drag the dictionary by my side. I need a word, a sentence. The door is open. Go. That's good. That's it. Thanks. Woohoo. Now she got a list of a ton of books. I don't know if I want to read any of them. Banned for books banned for love. Indigenous lives. I don't know that. Indigenous poetry. I don't care. Sublime books. Tookie's pandemic readings. And I don't read no incarceration books either. And they have sailboat table books, ghost managing books, uninvited guests, ceremonies of the damned. That's cute. I don't know. Maybe we'll pick one of her favorite books. But we'll cross that bridge later. Woo, we got another week. So I'll make a post. I got to worry about Tuesday first. All right, y'all. It's been a blast. Yeah, we still might think about the Alchemist. Maybe I'll tag you in the post so you can give me some suggestions. I appreciate your support. And I shall see you Tuesday. Terrence, brother, I love you, bro. I appreciate you. I don't know, man. Listen, they got the camping this week. And I was gonna go, man, but I found out, I travel for work and it was all good. Then yesterday told me I gotta make an emergency trip to Florida. So I ain't even gonna be able to make it, bro. But I hope you get out there. I went out there the last time and it was cool, man. And they're serious. I'm telling you, because I don't know. But you can talk to them. Like, if you ain't finna be there all day, man, they ain't gonna charge you the full $85 and shit like that. So don't even sweat that cash. Because I ain't even pay. I don't even know how much I paid, but I ain't do it to the day of. But it was a good event. You know what I mean? Good to be out there. So if you hadn't been camping, bro, just take a chance and go on out there. And then they'll probably introduce you to that hoppe and stuff like that, bro. But I appreciate you as always. You know what I mean? Oh, you on Facebook this time too, cuz you with my Facebook family. Ladies, show Terrence some love, man. don't we leave them out there, man. That's my man's. No, I appreciate y'all as always, bro. And ladies, and I catch y'all Tuesday, and next Thursday, right? I appreciate you. Until next time, enjoy your weekend. We got Strawberry Fest this week too, so I might check that out. Oh, you went last year. Bro, you was at the damn. I ain't even realized that. Oh, you was the one that was looking, you was the other dude that was looking at them like, do I really want to take this hoppe? Okay. I remember you on point because he was sitting to the left. We watched the food while we took that shit. I ain't even mad at you. But look at me now, bro. I got my own, bro. I mean, it's TMI, but the other people be tripping. Bro, I got my own collection. I ain't even tell you. Ever since then, I got what's this guy got going on? You wanna try? That's the bullet hoppe. It's supposed to be the strongest. And then I got Divine Mother Rose. That's good. I generally use that. People got mother issues, with their mama or issues with being a mama and stuff like that. And then that Pisces, I got that. What's that? Something of the water. Forces of the water. Yeah, I went and got my own setup. I mean, even the pipe and everything, bro. They even got this the one for the what's day. I even went wild and got the one for myself, bro. Oh God, before I be in here accidentally shoot some in my nose. But I got a whole little setup, man. But again, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate y'all. See y'all next.